Good evening. Welcome to the Selectmen's Meeting for June 5th, 2018. We are just coming out of a recess after executive session, so I'll call the meeting back to order. And could you join us in a Pledge of Allegiance, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The meeting is being tape recorded. It's not live. We've got a problem on the Comcast end that is being worked on, but anybody else taping the meeting? No? Okay. Chairman's additions or deletions. Cindy's not here. Wayne, with your indulgence, I would like to add, we're deleting 2.2. I would like to add 3 pieces of correspondence that came in the last couple of days. Those will all go under 4.3. So 4.3.1 is Comcast Public Access, 4.3.2 Recycling Policy, and 4.3.3 Unregistered Motor Vehicle Complaint. Appointments of officials and personnel. Votes may be taken. 2.1, appoint Karen Clement to the 300th Anniversary Committee effective June 5th, 2018. Can I get a motion?
I move that we appoint Karen Clement to the 300th Anniversary Committee effective June 5th, 2018.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting business, votes may be taken. 3.1, review and approve change order number 3 for the West Townsend Fire Station in the amount of $23,542.66. Get a motion?
I move that we review and approve change order number 3 for the West Townsend Fire Station in the amount of $23,542.66.
Second. Discussion?
I read this, and there are several bids through this, and they chose this. Did they choose the lowest one?
Yes.
Or it was a combination of several? Okay.
Any other? Jim?
No.
All set?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3.2, declare surplus AV equipment as determined to have no value.
Madam Chair, these are things that have been in the boiler room for probably more years than they were
Yeah,
actually
they
in
look
use.
kind of interesting, huh? Cleaning, huh?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I move that we declare surplus AV equipment as determined to have no value.
Owner, Carolyn?
That would be you, Chair.
And we're just going to
I
dispose
will
of this.
second it. Yes, we're just going to dispose of it, right, Jim?
Correct.
It looks kind of interesting. Maybe it should go in the time capsule.
Actually.
I don't think there's room.
Ask them if they want it. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3.3, review and approve a 3-year contract with G.W. Shaw and Son Incorporated for municipal solid waste and recycling material collection and disposal. Do I have a motion?
I move that we review and approve the 3-year contract with G.W. Shaw and Son Incorporated for municipal solid waste and recycling material collection and disposal.
Second. Questions?
Just an incremental increase every year.
Yes.
Is that for just increased tipping fees, or?
It is. They gave the Board of Health two different choices over 3 years to have it held status quo year one, which is what this option is, and then going up incrementally, or they had a 3-year level that went up the first year by a certain amount and then held flat. They chose to go with this one, and this is what we appropriated at town meeting.
Okay.
I know they've talked before about putting in like an extra pickup for big items once a year or something like that. Nothing like that came up in this one.
Scope is the same.
No toters or anything?
Nope, scope
Okay.
is the same, yeah.
All right. I didn't see any, but thank you. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Gonna sign there. Three point four, review and approve a road opening permit for 182 South Row Road.
I move that we review and approve a road opening permit for 182 South Row Road.
Second.
That's just a standard Unitil
Yep.
hookup.
Set?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3.5, review, approve, sign authorization for Charter Cable to provide cable services for the location at 168 Haynes Road. This is actually,
Charter was supposed to issue us some type of authorization to sign off on. We have not received it. So I put it on the agenda before we had received it, anticipating it, but unless they sent it to you,
No,
Jim.
it hasn't come in yet, but if the board's inclined, a vote to endorse the authorization form from Charter to provide this service to be signed by the chair out of session would be appropriate. Basically, what we have is somebody that has access to cable across the street, but it's Charter and it's Pepperell,
Oh.
and doesn't have clear access to our system through Comcast. So it would require you as the licensing authority to agree and for Charter to agree.
okay, so the Comcast public access that we had listed as an addition is simply to put the correspondence in.
No, Comcast Public Access was the discussion on Lisa Lewin's email, I thought,
Okay.
regarding the fact that
Okay.
it wasn't recorded last
Okay.
week.
All right, thank you. We're getting lots of things on the same subject. All right, so you want a vote to authorize the town administrator?
No, the chair.
Okay,
The chair out of session.
okay,
To execute the authorization from Charter and to be able to do so out of session.
Okay. I move that we review, approves, and sign authorization outside of session by the chair for Charter Cable to provide cable services for the location 168 Haynes Road.
second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3.6, discuss role of liaison. Jim?
Yes, Madam Chair, this is a combination of a couple of different communities. When you and I last spoke, the idea was to try to just jumpstart the conversation about a definition. One thing that this one does that is different than what has historically happened here is this is limited to just committees and boards, you might note, and not departments. So that's one edit that would need to be made to make it consistent with practice here. So it's really intended as nothing more than a jumping off point for your discussion.
And would it be appropriate to attach this as an amendment, if you will, to the liaison policy?
Well, when you're reviewing your policies coming up at
Yeah.
work session, we have a liaison section and the board policies,
We
just
could-
rolling it right in.
We could roll it into that.
Whatever-
Okay, so
Whatever language you want to have, but this would be
did you have any changes, comments?
No, I mean, this is the first, I mean, it kind of spells it out where, I had a lot of questions before as to what.
Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Second paragraph, it's requested that each committee board which has been assigned a selectman as a liaison include the Board of Selectmen liaison in the distribution of all general meeting correspondence. I added another one, department reports.
Which would be consistent with adding departments in the first paragraph.
Right,
So
okay.
each department, committee, or board.
And that doesn't have to be on a regular basis. That, I mean, they could do that, submit it monthly, would be fine. I don't want them to go crazy for every piece of correspondence they have. So if we put a monthly thing there. The only other, on the last section, participation, Board of Selectmen is not considered a member of each assigned committee or board. He or she should not actively participate in meetings unless invited to do so or is needed to provide or obtain information and feedback. So it's an advisory kind of conversational thing. And I kind of wrote something up, and you can play with the wording. I'll give you mine. But I think that it's appropriate to say the liaison does not represent the board and may not speak as such. Okay, decisions, if necessary, must come back to the full board for review, discussion, and vote. Okay? So I'll give you my little bit, okay? So we can include this in our policy work session, okay? Sound all right to you, Wayne?
Yeah, great.
3.7, discussion regarding defining process to review town council RFP responses.
That literally is just a discussion. Do you want to schedule interviews? You've had the packets now for a couple of weeks. I know you have lives, so I don't expect you've had
They
the
were great
opportunity.
reading on the plane.
Did you pay extra carry-on fee for that?
Yeah, really.
So I don't know if you're inclined to want to schedule face-to-faces with one. I mean, 4 is not a lot.
No, it's
It's
not.
something that could be accommodated in an off meeting.
I think it'd be beneficial to do that. I mean, because, I mean, it's a brochure, basically, what they send you. They
Yeah.
gave you their skills and background and history and all that fun stuff, to varying levels of ratings and such. I think a face-to-face would be good for them to sell themselves, because some did better than others as far as level of detail.
Right.
You know, there was one that was this thick, there was one that was this thick. So,
So typically, when I've done interviews before, I have something prepared in terms of a list of questions or dialogue. I would think that we would need to do something like that in preparation for it.
I have an interview packet that's been used in a number of communities. It's not something I've created. I pirated it from somebody else, but it might serve as a good basis for you to look at the questions. I can get that out by email tomorrow. Pretty basic stuff, you know, conflict of interest stuff. If you have cases, how do you handle, you know, when the ethics of somebody who pays your bill is asking you something that, you know, cuts across with, you know, what your obligations are. I mean, anybody can answer the what's your toughest case, you know, what's your most interesting case. Those aren't really things you're going to want to hear much about. So pretty standard stuff, but I can get that to you.
Okay.
and then we can, with the work session, we can,
Yeah,
Go through that.
and we have to plan what we're gonna do at the next work session too. I mean, we have the policies that we've already kind of reviewed, and we should do a second reading for those and get those done. And then,
You said you wanted to start at the back end of the policies and move forward, so maybe even break them into
Chunks.
digestible chunks.
okay. Yeah, if you could get us that, that'd be great.
Would you imagine having 4 interviews in one night, or would you want to do it in over 2 successive nights? I mean, I don't judge it's good to have 2 weeks in between.
No,
It's not fair for them or you, really.
no. I think we bite the bullet,
And do 4.
yeah,
I think it'd be easier,
Okay.
scheduling wise, anyway.
yeah. I would assume it would be probably a 40-minute each,
Easily, yeah. Okay.
I'm fine with it.
okay. The question is when?
Well, I'll get you the draft interview packet, and we can look at what the calendar is. You could put it on a work session and have it be the bulk of, you only push the policy out another work session. If you'd like, or hold a standalone meeting on other than regular night.
Let's take a look at the calendar after, okay? Do you mind? And
Fine.
maybe send us the, like your availability and Cindy's too, and we go from there. It's amazing how fast a week or two can go.
Especially now since it's nice out.
So you're gonna send us. And then they have to be available too.
Yeah, I mean, that may be another limiting factor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it could. Could answer a question too. 3.8, review approved municipal relief transfers. We have 3.8.1, which is a Medicare transfer.
Madam Chair, before you look at them individually, I know you sent an email this morning that had a spreadsheet. I forwarded that to the town accountant, who'd be the one that'll be going through this exercise, making certain that there's one document, one master document that has all this on a running basis. So when you see, if there are to be additionals in subsequent packages, you would see a cover sheet with that document on it that shows where we've been, what the date of the votes were, so you can track the history to date.
And something else came up. Carolyn was good enough to find something that we were badgering our memories trying to find it. I remembered that there used to be a section that explained why we need this, or, what the situation is that caused it.
Right.
And Carolyn found it and distributed that, so I thank you for that, Carolyn. So going forward, we'll have that extra little verbiage in here, which is helpful, because my first question is, why do we need to do this?
Right. This one is because salaries went up, and the Medicare is a function of the salary, the payroll. So when, I forget, what is our percentage, Carolyn, Medicare?
Well, it's 3 something, maybe.
I don't think you get like 1.34 or something.
Yeah, it's not a
something.
lot.
The request that had come in for budget was a flat 52,000 from the prior year before anything had been settled. So this is what it's going to net out by the end of the year.
Okay. Questions?
Nope.
Could I get a motion?
Do we do each separately?
Yes.
I move that we transfer $8,000 to Medicare town share, transferred from short-term interest.
Second?
Satisfied?
Yep.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the next one?
I move that we approve $1,250.05 to be transferred from support staff, transferred to support staff, transferred from health insurance.
Second? Same question? Same answer?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Maybe it's me, but it's more logical for me to have the from too.
Me too. Yeah, we can flip that.
That would be nice.
Do you want me to change that?
That was vanilla
Yeah,
version.
because you're taking money from something and
That's
putting
why
it
I
to.
read it that way.
Yeah, I know. I know, it's more logical. And 3.9, discussion regarding Comcast public access.
That was taken off, Sue.
That was the,
Those were the ads. that
those
you
were the
didn't want.
ads, all
Yeah.
right, we're fine. Okay, work session, town administrator updates and reports.
Did we get 310? Recycling policy?
That's,
That's under correspondence.
Oh, I apologize, okay, okay.
Those were the three you asked for.
yes, those were the three I asked for under correspondence.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, Madam Chair, what you have is an effort to distill all of the notes from the last meeting on goals and objectives into a couple of broad goals and then deliverables with action items under each deliverable. So you would see, for instance, the first goal, capital assets. Deliverable is town-wide road analysis, and the actions would be updating the plan, costing out the plan, putting a management/plan of attack, looking at dedicated revenue sources. Lunenburg was mentioned. And then on the information technology capital asset, the underlying would be grant received, update, and identify priorities for the expenditures. So obviously this can be fleshed out in greater detail, but just to kind of shake everything out from the conversation, the lengthy conversation at the last meeting.
What'd you think?
I think that went really well. This was a good start.
I mean, obviously.
I
it
think
needs
there's
to be-
enough to put some meat on it after.
Oh, there is. I think,
Yeah.
I was surprised. I think I told you, Sue, when I went home, I was actually trying to fall asleep and thinking, that actually went far better than I expected. There was a consensus around kind of the four big issues. Everybody kicked in a deliverable or two underneath, so.
There's only, under 7, social issues.
Yep.
The opioid crisis was one. That's really not a deliverable. I would like to see a drug enforcement plan. And I am not, I realize that I maybe hadn't been clear when I say I don't expect nor necessarily want people who are addicted and having enough problems with their addiction to go after them from a prosecuting them standpoint, okay? I mean, I do have a heart, and recently lost someone to that very problem. However, when I think about John, I think about who sold him that, who gave him that, who chased him because he was trying to get away from stuff. And he was trying not to associate himself with those folks anymore. And those are the people I want to go after. And I want to know, what are we doing about it? Okay? I don't want them in my town. I want them to know this town does not tolerate taking advantage of people for money. And to me, you're taking a sick person, somebody who needs help, and you're taking advantage of them and making money off of that. And I can't think of anything that deserves to be punished any more than that is. Those are the people that I want to go after. So that's my part of that crisis thing. In terms of the social, definitely, trying to help those people is another story. But just seeing it there at this point in time, I had to say something for John's benefit. Wayne, anything else?
Well, for the next meeting then, if I blow those open a little bit more and make the specific action item more understandable. I mean, right now, if somebody's picking this up, you know, they may see code of conduct and not really fully understand what that meant, what the deliverable was, so there's no
Yep.
question about what it is, so I'll just kind of expand that section out a little bit.
Yeah?
Do you feel particularly married to the completion timeline section of this document? I always liked it just as a target, but I don't know how you feel about it, if you think there's
I
value to it.
think we need to cull them out a little bit in more detail,
Mm-hmm.
because I think some of them are gonna be lower hanging fruit than
Sure.
others.
Yep.
And I wouldn't mind putting deliverable dates on,
Yep.
on those.
No, I think we have to have some sort of goal
Yeah.
date.
Yeah, okay.
And I think it gives you a feeling of satisfaction too, because, you know, you set a goal and deliverable, and here's the date,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, and I think it keeps it going.
Yeah.
The one last, I mean, not as though we have a color printer in the building, which is a separate issue. Can color code these based on priority as well? So, for instance, if there are things that, either based on priority or low-hanging fruit, I mean, you can take some of the easy things and, you know, they're one color and they're keyed at the bottom. Other things that you expect are gonna be multi-year things can be keyed a different color. I mean, some people like, just visually, they like to see it.
Plus, it's
That way.
easier to check it off, it's showing that's,
Sure.
you know, the green, yellow, red.
Okay. All right, so I'll take a crack at that too.
That sounds
And I sent you
good.
that
Yes.
software link.
Yeah, I've already made a fool of myself twice trying to understand it, so I'll get with you.
Okay, there's a couple of really good things in there.
Yeah, I think that's gonna come out well.
I did have another question
Yeah.
for Jim, because I was approached by a couple of the residents that were at the baseball meeting a couple of weeks ago, saying that they have not been contacted. Is there an update from building inspector since we
did.
signed that to him?
I did get a visit from, gentleman's name's a plumbing inspector, of all people, I should know his name.
Richie?
Yeah, Richie came and saw me last week, and I made a call to Keith Turgeon while Richie was there, left a voicemail, and Keith got me back saying that he had reached out to Richie and that they were going to get together.
Okay, good.
They were going to make, he asked if someone from the office up here would go as well on the initial walk, and I said that I would. And that's just to walk through and have the discussion physically out in the trees. And Keith was apologetic that he hadn't gotten to him yet within the first couple of days of the week there, so
Okay, good.
I've not heard since then that it's not moving forward.
Okay, awesome.
So you haven't done the walk yet?
No.
Okay. Where are we? That was all you had, Jim?
4-2, correct.
4.2, first meeting of the month for business and second meeting work session is what we're going to try to do. I'd also like to try to take the month of July off like we used to do years ago. You know, we could still come in and do the
We do
warrant.
have the July 10th at a minimum. We need to do the treasurer collector has that one issue that she's
Yes,
conveyed to you.
I understand, we've
I mean,
kind of
that's
committed to
Literally
that.
minutes, no more than that. But
So is that okay?
I'm fine with that. That's when I'm taking vacation, so.
Okay, yeah, I think all of us have plans.
that'll give me an opportunity to flesh out some of this other stuff that's sitting here, so.
Okay.
On the issue of second, first being business, second being work, department head meeting next, I'll make that point as well. It's already been shared with folks that we're gonna try to steer the ship toward that now. So people.
I mean, we'll do exceptions if we have to. I just don't
Okay.
want the exception to become the rule.
Right, right. I think you had said that, you know, if somebody does have a permit, you know, on the work session, it's, you know, it needs to be done, it gets done. But that's not the expectation.
And I think we're already expecting at the next one, there might be an appointment,
Yeah.
you know, and that's fine. Because we can't quite dovetail with everybody's
Right.
meetings, but it shouldn't be more than 5 or 10 minutes worth. Because otherwise, the work session's not gonna be working. So that's for the public's knowledge, too. Status of IT grant and pathway forward. Jim, you and I talked a little bit about the grant. Can you just explain
Sure.
that?
Yep, the town had applied for, as part of the Commonwealth, Community Commonwealth Compact, to the IT round for $200,000, which was the max allowable that you could ask for. They ended up getting far more requests than they had funding, and our project came back funded at 49,000 and change, so 25% of what the ask was. When Sue and I talked about this, she politely, but with a grin, said, in so many words, she told me so. It is where we are, so we've got a quarter of the funding to,
Did I predict that or what?
Yes, you did.
quarter of the funding to move forward. I think last communication with you, Sue, was to reach back out to the vendor that did the report to get their take on the priority expenditure of our listed needs, so we're
Yeah.
not just buying something that might seem like a good purchase that doesn't make strategic sense.
Wayne, I know you're doing liaison for the IT, and I wonder how you think of this, but because the consultant wrote that whole plan, and I think it looked like a good plan. Now, we're limited, obviously, at least at this juncture, for what we can do. I'd really like to hear the priority that they would choose.
Yeah.
How would they spend that?
Yeah, because
Because I don't think that, I think we here are too close to it.
yeah, I mean, that's what they do. I've worked with them before, so, and I'm sure they run into this all the time with town government, where they say you need 200,000, but you're only gonna get 50, and I'm sure they have a plan in place, or would recommend certain things to do that, so I would recommend
you're
we
good
get them
with
in.
that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. And we do have an appropriation within the IT budget for some capital upgrade as well. I mean, it's, I think, 10 grand, so it just adds a little bit more to the puzzle. But I can reach out to them with some, make sure that we get something in writing from them based on the scope and plan, what they think the priority is for that amount.
Well, I mean, this is June. If we could get something started at least, use up what we have at this point, and hopefully by the fall, maybe by fall town meeting, would be able to afford to add a little bit more to take the next
next
chunk,
pieces are, yeah.
you know? So it might be helpful if they were to chunk this out into, say, 3 parts,
Gotcha.
okay?
Yep.
And I had a thought, and I wanted to know how my other board members felt about it. But I realized the other day that there are lots of folks working in the town, even in this building, that I haven't even met some of them, you know?
Same.
Yeah, and I was thinking, well, it might be nice, like, once a year after we get a new member on the board especially, let's have a little reception, employee reception. You know, and everybody can put a little tag on that says, hello, my name is, so I don't get embarrassed.
It's happened to me a few times now, since it's because they know who I am, but
Yeah, exactly. So, but a chance to just kind of meet and mingle and stuff. So what do you think?
I think it'd be a great idea, and it's a chance for everybody to communicate, since we don't all sit in the same room at the same time.
Yeah. So what do you think, like end of a day maybe?
Tuesday evenings too are always maybe on an off night, because most
Because
everybody's
some,
open Tuesday.
yeah, a lot of people are here, huh? So maybe like a 4 o'clock?
Well, people come back at 6 to 8. So, you know, we could advance announce that, you know, on Tuesday, a month out, or whatever the date is, the town offices won't be open 6 to 8, and close down half the hall, put something, you know, some refreshments out, and instead of people coming to work for that 2 hours, they can come in and hang out.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have a department head meeting next week, and we ask them what they think.
Okay.
Good. Gotcha.
Okay, I'd love to do that, because like I said, there's people that I haven't even met. Wayne, your turn.
So I have two announcements to read. First is the Townsend Military Band will open its 2018 Thursday evening concert series on the Townsend Common on June 7th. Weather permitting, the band will play a concert from the bandstand on the Common each Thursday between 7:30 and 9:30 p.m. through at least August 9th. The Townsend Military Band is managed by Betty Mae Tenney of Townsend and conducted by Thomas Souza of Chelmsford. Mr. Souza is a Brandeis University Wind Ensemble Director, the Nashua, New Hampshire Public School System K-12 Music Department Coordinator, and the Band Director at the Fairgrounds Middle School in Nashua. Mr. Souza plans to feature well-known show tunes, marches, patriotic music, and children's music in the Townsend Military Band's Thursday evening concerts. The concerts are funded by the town of Townsend. Lawn parties hosted by local organizations which feature food, activities for children, and other assorted tables are held in conjunction with these concerts. Area residents of all ages are encouraged to bring their lawn chairs or blankets to the Townsend Common on Thursday evening so they may sit and enjoy the good music in company of friends and neighbors. Townsend Scout groups will host the lawn party at the Townsend Military Band's June 7th concert on the Townsend Common. Boy Scout Troop 10 will be selling hot dogs, hamburgers, cheeseburgers, baked goods, cold soda, and hot coffee. Boy Scout Troop 81 will be offering fried dough, french fries, and popcorn for sale. Both Boy Scout troops will be selling cold bottled water. Cub Pack 11 will have several games set up on the Common for the enjoyment of children at the concert. Townsend Girl Scouts will have a large selection of Girl Scout cookies and beverages to enjoy them with available for purchase. The Townsend Military Band will open its concert at 7:30 p.m. by playing the new Colonial March by Hall and the Lion King arranged by Higgins. Selections from Fiddler on the Roof by Bach, Glover's arrangement of Zacchaeus, and Hollywood Milestones will be performed. The Peer Gent Suite No. 1 arranged by Tabani and Lorendo's arrangement of the Invercargill March will be played during the first portion of the concert. The Hall of Fame March, arranged by Allen and Bacharach and David Melody No. 1, will be played following intermission. The English Folk Song Suite by Vaughan Williams will be among the selections offered before the Townsend Military Band concludes its concert by 9:30 by playing the Star Spangled Banner.
Thank you.
I have one more. William Hitchens will be at the Town Common this Thursday night at 7 p.m. at the June 7th band concert on the Common with the Time Capsule Yearbook. Everyone in Townsend is welcome to sign the yearbook. The yearbook will be placed in the time capsule this month and will be opened in the year 2032 for Townsend's 300th anniversary. I believe we all signed that tonight. Well, you didn't.
No,
Oh, you
well,
did,
I
Joe.
signed one
Yes.
of them, yes, I signed one. Thank you. Board mail and correspondence, we have three things. Lisa Lewin sent an email asking why Channel 9 wasn't working, and we found out just before the meeting that there's apparently some kind of connection problem that Hartley's going to work on with his buddies tomorrow, so that's the update on that. We got a correspondence, we got an email, originally I think it was from Carla from the Board of Health, and then a recycle policy draft, or I guess it's a draft.
Yeah, it's from another town.
West
It looked like a pretty good one.
And it's because we need a recycle policy?
We have a very old one from 2000.
Okay.
They felt that for this year it would do, but it's definitely something that needs to be updated. I guess as part of the grant application, you send out a memo saying, reminding folks to buy recycled with the old policy, but if you read the old policy, it doesn't really apply. But
Okay, so have you looked at the new one?
Have.
It looks okay for us to adopt?
Find and replace the names, and
Okay,
yeah, it's good.
because I
Alright.
can format that for your
That-
policy meeting.
that'd be great.
Okay.
That'd be great, and, I mean, because I got to read it. Did you get to read it yet?
The
The
draft.
West Boylston
Yeah,
one?
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we could consider this as the first reading.
Nope.
And if you format it,
I
then
will.
we'll take it for a
Signature at
vote.
the next one.
Okay? And we got a follow-up to a complaint about unregistered motor vehicles. And my suggestion is that the board vote to send a certified return receipt requested to the persons who have those motor vehicles parked in their yard, and ask for copies of valid registrations for every one of the vehicles, and give them 10 days to do that. And if it comes back that they don't have them, or they don't, they don't have any at all, then Chief Bailey and I will take a walk over there. Okay?
There are many of those in town. Residents like that have number of vehicles.
Unfortunately, what usually happens with those is it takes a neighbor to complain about it, okay? And I don't recall what the bylaw says about the unregistered vehicles. I'm sure it doesn't say that the Board of Selectmen is in charge of.
It does.
Well, it says the Board of Selectmen is in charge, but has to wait for somebody to complain about it first.
It's based upon complaint.
It's based on complaints, which isn't very proactive in my estimation, so maybe we could work on that when the time comes,
I
too.
just heard the
And
chief
flick it over
complaining.
to the
Yeah, I know.
building department.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Not really.
So if the chief knows of such situations, then can we just say that if we get complaints, that we'll follow this
Same policy?
same procedure?
Yeah.
Fine with that?
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So if the chief or anyone else has any complaints about what appear to be unregistered motor vehicles, more than how many are you allowed to keep?
One.
One, I
You're
believe.
allowed to have one by, I'm going by memory, by bylaw, but the
I thought it
Board of
was-
Selectmen also allow permits. So if you have more than one and it's 75 feet of the road, say they like to collect older vehicles or something, they are allowed to have others as long as the Board of Selectmen issue permits for it.
Kids away at college, they took the car off the road, you give them a permit, for the academic year or something like that.
Okay, all right. So if anybody does see it, and it's not very sightly, it's not always a nice-looking situation, so I'm sure that that's what annoys some neighbors, too. Let us know, and we will send letters and follow up. Okay? And that's all we had for correspondence that I know of. 4.4, approval of meeting minutes. Do we have any?
No, I have two sets done, but I forgot to
Okay.
email them to you.
All right.
Put them on in there.
Skip over that. And 4.5, review and sign bills payable and payroll warrants.
I move that we review and sign payroll and bill payable warrants out of session.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move we adjourn at 7:03.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, all. Thank you.